doing push-ups. I've been doing sit-ups. I've been doing chin-ups. I've been doing pull-ups. I threw up once, but I'm okay now.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Monday edition of the Ysn Power Hour, powered by Toyota of Warren. DJ Yoakley and Richie Giuliano with you on this last week of the year for the show, Rich. I mean, it's been a long year. It's been a great year. But finally, we make it. And I've already been asked, like, why is this the last week of the show? You've got another week before Christmas. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like, you've got Christmas presents you got to get out there and buy. I've got Christmas presents I got to get out there and buy. Why not? Why not? Because this is the time of season, and we've always put this. It's always family first. So go spend some time with your family. I mean, we're still doing games and stuff, but allow our great people that do these shows to go spend some time with their family during the day as well. So how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. To build off that point a little bit, that's what Christmas is all about, right? Spending time with your family and like all your loved ones. So it's kind of nice because we've had a long stretch of football. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we were in an NFL season with, weekly interviews, coaches, corners, and player profiles. So, we've been through a lot the last couple of months, and, basketball season, you flip the switch because it's every night now, right? I mean, football is once a week. We do those interviews once a week as well on a Tuesday and a Wednesday. And, now it's basketball. And, pretty much almost every night you're doing something, whether it's a scoreboard or, out in one community calling a game. And, you kind of have to flip that switch pretty quick because we go from calling a state championship to, being in a basketball arena the next day. So, it's kind of a fun, switch because now it's more up tempo, where football is kind of like more relaxed throughout the week, and then it really amps up Thursday and Friday. So, I'm really eager to see the basketball teams we have around this area. I've already been able to see a lot, and we have some really good teams this year. I think a couple could actually make some runs on the girls' side, and then the boys' side, Ursuline is going to be a juggernaut this year. That's for sure.
Loaded. And we're going to talk about them. We got the power rankings that were released last night. Tonight will be the Big Dogs of the Valley version 1 of many here throughout the season. So a lot to look forward to tonight. And then the plays of the week return tomorrow. So we have our Sunday, our Monday, and our Tuesday already, and looking forward to it. And we'll break down the power rankings here in just a little bit. But first, as we do each and every time we start this show, we can't start it without our On This Day in Sports History. Roll it. All right, Rich, on this day in sports history in 1976, quarterback Joe Namath plays his last game as a New York Jet. With that being said, can you think of any other player or many other players that had such a great career with one team that went on to the next and just weren't that same individual?
I'll say Tom Brady right now.
Oh, no, my heart.
You
stabbed me right in the heart, man.
What's crazy is, though, even though, because they got whacked yesterday, even though they're 6-7, they're still in first place. And, once you get Tom Brady in the playoffs, he turns into a different animal. So as long as he's able to get in some way or somehow, he's probably going to get back to that old version of himself. But you could kind of see it. Maybe you disagree with me. I just don't think he's the same player that he was in New England. I don't know if it's different personnel, different scheme, different coaching staff, but it just doesn't look like he's the same guy.
He won a Super Bowl already, man.
He did, but it's just a different version of him.
It's a "what have you done for me lately" world, and Tom Brady is living in it right now. He has to be walking down those hallways, those tunnels, thinking, where did all these people that love me go?
Yeah.
Like, he's dealing with some stuff. I mean, going through a divorce, probably trying to figure out, his parenting hours and how he's allowed to be a parent, what kind of parent he's allowed to be from that perspective. And he's dealing, and then he's got to go out and be chased by 270, 300-pound men on a daily basis. So it's not like I feel bad for him, but there's a little compassion for old Tommy because he still is the GOAT without a question of a doubt. He's the GOAT, and people just forgot about him because Baker Mayfield came in 2 days, won one game, and everybody thinks he's going to win a championship now.
Yeah, give me a break with that.
Bad. Oh, Rich, it's my favorite time of week, and it's time for the Cleveland Browns update with Rich Giuliano.
That's all you need to know. They find ways to lose games. And I was talking with my good friend who I was watching the game with yesterday. It's always the little details that lose the game for the Browns. It's never, a blowout this year. They're not getting their doors blown off. It's the little things. It's like a 3rd and 15 where you get a stop and you force a punt. The guy's punting from his 5 and we rough the punter. And then it's like we get a sack, and then we have a hands in the face, and then we get a nice stop, and then it's a holding on the defense, which is an automatic first down, results in 7 points. It's just like we just shoot ourselves in the foot. And it's the small details that win and lose your football games, and we just find those small details to screw up.
Is it one of those situations where, because you're kind of stuck, you don't have any draft picks, in the first round for the next 38 years, you can't root for your team to lose because you're not going to get anything better for it.
Yeah, you're right. We're stuck in between a rock and a hard place right now because you win. What's it going to do for you? I think we have like a 0.5% chance of making the playoffs now, which, I mean, we're done. We're realistically done from making the playoffs. And you're right. We have no draft picks. So I guess this is a stretch of games where you just want to see improvement. That's about it. Maybe.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready to call off the dogs on Deshaun Watson yet?
No. You know what? 2 games. He hasn't been back in 2 years. I didn't think he looked terrible yesterday. I think there were glimpses of hope where he looked like a professional quarterback, and then there's other plays where it's like, I could see otherwise, but we'll see. I mean, it's too early to tell in his case, but what concerns me was our inability to run the football yesterday against Cincinnati. I was like, oh my God, that's like our, strength every single game is running the football. We have one of the best offensive lines, and, Chubb was getting maybe 2 yards at most every carry. So I give credit to the Bengals defense because they made a good adjustment up front, but, still it's kind of concerning for the Browns.
I'm going to be interested whenever teams actually just go all in on stopping the run against Cleveland. Because then what are they going to do? Because right now Deshaun Watson, again, I want to crush this guy because at one point I wanted him on the Steelers. I wanted the Steelers to trade for him. But I got to say, thank God they didn't. And all that the Browns gave up to get him, the future of the franchise, I don't think they made the right decision. I know it's only been 2 games, but there's still things that even a quarterback that was would have been in jail, the throws he should be able to make. And there were some wide open throws yesterday. The one that I remember vividly is the throw. It was on 3rd down, and he threw it probably 30 yards over a receiver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. And in coverage.
Yeah, I was like, what are you doing? And it was 3rd and 2 or something like that. So I think there's a lot of problems with the Browns right now. There's obviously a lot of problems with the Steelers right now, and people are pointing at it. And I think 2 teams, again, 2 franchises that have significantly made different choices along the last 2 or 3 decades are continuing to make different choices along the way here. as they continue to try to climb out of the basement. Because right now they're neck and neck in the basement. And I think one of those teams are worried about the future, and the other one's worried about, like, what are we going to do right now? What are we going to do right this second? Because I don't think the buy-in for this Browns organization is even there. I think that there's a lot of people that are disappointed with the decision, but if that's the cost of winning, then whatever it takes. I mean, Cleveland will forgive you. LeBron knows it. But if you win for them, great. But if you lose for them, get ready. That front office better get ready over the next 3 years if they don't win, because if Deshaun Watson does not produce a Super Bowl trophy, a Lombardi trophy, it will go down as one of the worst trades in the history of the National Football League.
Well, let's be honest. What's the odds of that actually happening? The Browns winning a Super Bowl. I mean, will it ever happen? I mean, seriously, like, every time you think we got a stacked team, we got a great team this year, you find ways to lose. Just find ways to lose.
I still think the best team you had was a couple of years ago. I really do. The year you beat Pittsburgh.
And the playoffs, yeah.
And it was, I mean, you were, again, I joke about it, you were close to beating Kansas City.
Yeah.
But you found a way to lose.
Yeah. To a backup quarterback.
From Michigan.
Yeah. That hurts even worse, actually.
Let's shift some gears here and talk basketball, man, because it is basketball season. You were talking about it in the kind of the pre-show. And I'm with you 100%. We are on a full tilt football. You and I didn't even want to think about basketball yet. We ended up doing some at the end there, at the end stages of football. And now we are full tilt in. But I got to be honest with you, man. I think my body and my mind just kind of shut down, and then everything just crashed with it. Like, the world is sick right now, not, pandemic stages, but like everybody I talk to has at least sniffles. Yeah. And it's ridiculous. My family got hammered this weekend with it. We're fighting our way out of the basement, out of trying to contain each other, but it's hard with kids, obviously. My wife, the Saint, continues to fight through and do all that stuff. But we always look at football and basketball differently. And I think let's let people behind the curtain here. Basketball is always kind of like, okay, just let's get to whatever we can get to, because there's so much volume in basketball. And if you talk to coaches, depending on when you talk to them and if you're on the record or not, they're going to tell you that basketball really doesn't start till after Christmas. But here we are. Quinn just told me we're over 300 games in already on the network, which is incredible. So for you, how do you kind of reset for basketball? Like, because I think a lot of fans are dealing with that right now as parents. How do we reset? Like, you got one kid going from football to basketball, another kid going from volleyball to basketball. How do you reset or recalibrate as an announcer or a fan of sports as you head into another season?
I think it's definitely tougher when your football team wins a state championship, because you go from the top of the top to now restarting. But, as a basketball fan myself, I love basketball. Probably my top 3 sports on the list with baseball, basketball, and football. For me, it's just the excitement of walking into the gymnasium, being courtside now at Camp Field, which gives you a different energy level up there, because I have a great perspective of how the players and the coaches are feeling on both sides of the bench. I could feel the crowd behind me. So it's actually, a harder switch, but I think a great switch to have, because I went from one of the most exciting times in my broadcasting career, calling a state championship, back to a gymnasium that's packed with energy and excitement with, all the success that, Canfield and South Range have had. And that energy is kind of transferred over to the basketball court as well. So there really hasn't been a loss for me when it comes to passion and excitement in calling basketball, just because I love it so much. I don't know if I have any like tips for it, but I just love the game of basketball, and I just love going on a nightly basis. I know I'm really excited to talk with some of the Ursuline guys tonight, because we're going to be able to call the game Tuesday, Canfield against Ursuline, which is going to be a great game at
Dogfight.
Canfield. So I'm excited to go out there and, meet those guys. And you kind of transition because we're so used to talking to the football players, and now you get to talk to the basketball coaches. So you kind of, flip the page in the book and, move on to the next chapter.
Terrence Pankey, widely regarded the best area basketball player, and for good reason. I mean, you watch this young kid play. I mean, he's not young; he's a senior now, right? So, you watch him play, and this kid is a standout, and he's from what I hear, an even better kid off the court and in the classroom. So, looking forward to it. Looking forward to you and Steve being out there, and hopefully Romo's in the mix somewhere, because I know he loves hanging out at the Dawn and hanging out with Ysn. So. Let's get to some these power rankings, if you'd be okay with that. Let's start with the girls first, ladies first. It is Salem at the top of things. Canfield coming in at number 2. You talked about the excitement of Canfield. They just continue to build things. Garfield number 3, Poland number 4. East makes their debut in all sports here at number 5 in the girls basketball power rankings in week 2. Edgewood, I believe this is a debut for Ashtabula County.
Yeah, it is.
Mistaken. So welcome Edgewood at number 6, Crestview at number 7. Don't think they moved from the pre-rankings. I think they're stuck at number 7 right now. Brookfield at number 8, Springfield at number 9, and the EOAC's United gets represented at number 10. For the boys, this is what we look at. Ursuline, we talked about them. They are a dog. You're in for a fight anytime you're playing Ursuline this year. They are number 1. Badger, number 2. I was asking Quinn before. I don't think these two teams play, but what a game that would be if they did. A couple of high flyers in that one. Lowellville, they've got a lot of returners, and they've got a lot of talent coming back. They're number 3. Austintown Fitch at number 4. Canfield finds themselves on another power ranking at number 5. East Liverpool, representing Southern Columbiana County at number 6. Edgewood at number 7. Again, congratulations to them getting on both lists. Howland at number 8. Louisville at number 9. And Cheney at number 10. I think the biggest thing to remember about all of these power rankings, because we've already caught heat, why this team and not this team, we now have the standings page, which you can go and look up the standings each and every morning after the night that was, and typically they're updated by even midnight that night, because you guys have been doing an excellent job with the scores and the standings. And my simple answer to anybody who said, well, why this team and not this team, the standings pretty much dictate right now, because people are still trying to feel out how this team's going to be and how this team's going to be as we get into conference play this week. From my power rankings, it was okay. I was way off in my preseason, like really bad, really, really bad. I thought, I still think Cheney's going to be good, but
really good. Yeah.
I was just, they're 2-1, Howland's 3-1. So I think that's why Howland got the nod over Cheney in that situation. But again, they're not perfect by any means, but I think they're a good indicator of where teams are at the moment, which is really what a power ranking is.
Yeah. And you know what? One team that really stood out to me was East. The girls East. Getting that big win over Liberty, 42-40. When Caberna sent that in the group message, I was like, wow, because Liberty's the defending district champion.
Yep.
They returned their 1,000-point score, and one of their other scorers that scores 15 a game. And for East to come in and get that victory is huge. They rattled off 5 consecutive wins there in a row, and they had a convincing victory over Niles, 53-13, and then they beat Akron North 47-4. So East definitely is a team that surprised a lot of people this year, but good for them. Congratulations to the Golden Bears. Their boys team is young.
Yep.
They still got some freshmen and sophomores in the mix, and they're going to be good in the next couple of years as well. So, I mean, East is on the rise when it comes to hoops.
So, and don't forget, too, to add on to your point, the standings page, real easy to access, 24 hours a day. So, in case you want to get on there and test us a little bit, it's ysnlive.com/standings. We try to make it real simple for you. And, of course, the scoreboard is ysnlive.com/score, or you just go to YSN Live and you can use the header there to click on where you want to go. Richie, I mean, so many good teams. We talked about Ursuline. We're talking about Canfield. We're talking about all these teams. When do you really think that for you they hit their stride in basketball? Because I feel like there's a lot of warming up to do in December, and then kind of what they indicated of once Christmas is over, does reality set in? Like where does it start for you?
Yeah, I think middle of January is when I really can test teams because right now I know, for example, Canfield's got 3 guys that haven't even touched the floor yet that could be starters because, they were football guys. They haven't practiced. They don't know the plays. They haven't picked up a basketball, and rightfully so, because if I was playing for, a state championship in football, I wouldn't even be thinking about basketball until it's over. So I know Coach Cullen and their assistant coaching staff is really just trying to ease players into getting back into the basketball mode. And, they're not letting them on the floor to play in game time. So, it's going to take a little bit for a lot of these teams to, get some of their underclassmen on the floor, get ready to go, learn the style, learn the plays. And, I think after January will be a good test of, the talent around this area.
What's fun for me is almost the next season too, because you go from basketball to baseball or softball or spring sports, but it's a weird thing that overhang, right? There's no overhang from fall to winter because you go inside. When you go back outside, you're so dependent on the weather that you might not start up for a month after, and you're just kind of hanging around and getting reps and practice and things like that. With the OHSA backing up the season, I guess moving it forward, depending on which way you look at it, making it earlier, let's put it that way, for winter sports, do you feel that there's any kind of advantage for teams or for players or student athletes or coaches from moving it up as opposed to keeping it where it was or even moving it back a little bit?
I don't know. I think it kind of hurts some players, to be honest with you, because, like the 3 I mentioned, they're going to miss a 6-7 game stretch to start the season. So if you're a multi-sport athlete, I think it hurts you. If you're a basketball player, I think it helps you because, now you're getting reps in as a sophomore and junior that you might not be getting if you didn't have multi-sport athletes. And I kind of think it hurts some of the programs and the coaches as well, because you can't pull kids away from football when they're in the playoffs to come, train for basketball and start shooting around. So I think it hurts the coaching staffs of, now our winter sports of basketball, because until January, you don't even have a firm grasp on who your team is and who your best players are, especially if they're underclassmen and they play multiple sports. You might not know, how good these kids are or even give them a shot at varsity until, they prove themselves at JV, which could be in February.
You and I have been in the same room with people who we talk about basketball with, and they roll their eyes because people don't take basketball necessarily here in Northeast Ohio seriously. They don't think that we're dominant in basketball, and certainly they have the case to be made. Let me ask you this question, Rich: do we have to win a state title in order to be taken seriously in basketball in the OHSAA?
I think Youngstown needs one bad. I think Northeastern Ohio, I think, is all right because you got St. Vincent, St. Mary.
Sure.
You're going to have teams up in Cleveland that are always very good. But, the Youngstown area, maybe the Ashtabula area, I think we're going to need to have some playoff push this year to get past the regional and end up in the state to, kind of consider ourselves legit, right? I mean, we've had a lot of our teams get to the regional opportunities in the last couple of years, Louisville, Salem, and other teams, but just haven't been able to finish it off with a lot of teams around the Columbus area and, down near Cincinnati. So I think we need one bad, at least to get to state this year to kind of, prove to everybody, hey, Youngstown, we've got athletes both on the football field and on the basketball court.
I got to ask you a tough question now. Now that you're more than just the voice of the Cardinals, if you got to put one team in that category to go get that championship and represent Youngstown, who's the team that you would put in as of this moment right now on the 12th of December?
It's got to be Ursuline. I just think Ursuline right now is the most well-rounded, most experienced, most athletic. I was able to watch their game over the weekend, and I mean, they just have some explosive guys, and that's what you're going to need because you're going to play some of the best athletes in Northeastern Ohio when you get to the regional round and even in the district final as well. So I like their chances the best. I think Cheney, if they get some guys back, I think that they can make a run as well and compete with Ursuline like they kind of do every year. Then on the girls' side, I really like Poland because they're in Division III. So I think Poland has a great chance of making a run. They got tested against Salem, which was a great basketball game. Both teams kind of jockeyed back and forth. And if I had to kind of put one in right now on the girls' side, it would be Poland and then Salem right behind them. I think they could have a good chance of making a run as well.
I love Poland. I love the interview that Nick put together today with Anthony, taking accountability for he said he needs more rotations. He needs to learn his rotations a little bit better and learn them a little bit more. I love when leaders take accountability, even on the floor, in the classroom, wherever. It's like just like honey, sweet honey, where you're just like, man, it's so good to see people actually take responsibility and accountability. And certainly Nick has always done that. But I'm going to agree with you on one thing. Salem. I cannot believe with all that they lost last year, with everything people have been saying, oh, Salem's not going to be the same. They don't have they've never had height. They never probably will have height, but they've got determination and they're off to a 6-0 start on this season, which puts them in number one in our polls. Mm-hmm. And they did some damage last year in the playoffs. They had a beautiful run, one of the last teams left on the network. I had the just great pleasure of being along for that ride, just out of happenstance. It wasn't DJ chose the Quakers. It was the Quakers needed to be covered, and I was the last lone survivor. So I'm excited to see that again. I'm the same way. I talk to EB all the time, and he's like, don't be surprised when we are the same team and the same scrappy self and Salem that we've always been. And sure enough, dude, here they are again. I couldn't believe it. But I feel like with injuries that have stepped up or crept up, rather, with West Branch, with other teams, Salem has been relatively healthy to start the year. And they've got a nice little boost going already, a quarter of their way through their season with a 6-0 start. That's pretty impressive, young man.
It is. I mean, Salem's definitely a team to look out for. And then I like Siggy's comment here. Half of our teams are in the Poland D3 district. So that district's going to be fun for us. And you know what? There's another team out there. Canfield's a good team. Not being a homer here. They're undefeated. They just beat an undefeated Stowe team at home on Saturday night. So they're a good team. They play together as a unit. They don't have one player that, is going to beat you. But, as a team, collectively, they're very good. So that's definitely another girls basketball team around the area to look out for. I know that Canfield plays Poland twice, I believe, on their girls' schedule and boys. So, that could be a fun matchup. And, for sure, Salem, I think it was Norton last year, right, that knocked them out. And Norton was a very good basketball team. Norton knocked out another one of our teams, West Branch. They knocked out West Branch, and then they beat Salem next week. So, that was kind of a juggernaut that both those teams ran into. And, Salem definitely had some revenge on their mind this season. And they did lose a lot, but I think their defense is one of the best in the area.
So here we go. Siggy also says Springfield in D4 has a very good shot. Boys or girls? I'm assuming he's talking about girls.
Girls, yeah.
Radar checking in as always. Thanks for tuning in, Radar. He says, I'd put Lowellville boys basketball and Poland girls basketball teams in there. They might have a deep run in the season. I don't believe. I mean, I don't disagree with that at all.
One team I'm going to put in, I think next week in our power rankings, I think Brookfield could be in there.
I don't doubt it.
Brookfield's off to a good start. They got some athletes. Lowellville's the same way, where they've got a lot of their football guys playing basketball. I saw a clip of, Vinny going up and slamming one home the other night. Luceni's good down in the post. Banofsky's a great shooter and a driver. So you got athletes on the court for Lowellville that, are now all seniors. So they're very experienced, have a couple years of varsity under their belt. And I do agree with Radar here. I think they could also make a run as well in the district.
How about these teams? We'll talk from the boys' side first. The teams that make runs in fall sports, do you think they're at a disadvantage when they have to jump over after their season ends that quick, and basically play catch up as the season goes along instead of having a week or two to kind of wait things out and get back into basket? Because people don't realize this huge difference between volleyball and basketball and football and basketball shape.
Mm-hmm. It kind of goes back to the argument earlier where, we were talking about maybe they should have just kept the basketball season where it was instead of moving it up. Because, now these kids go from, losing a playoff game or winning a state championship right to basketball, where the next day you're probably playing in a game at some point, especially a smaller community like Brookfield and Lowville, because you need those bodies and need those guys to step in and play, because sometimes you only have 10 guys that are on your team. So you need the bodies. Bigger schools, I think, have the advantage because there's more depth.
Yep.
I've seen a lot of kids in the D2, D3 ranks that are able to step up as sophomores and play. But when you get down to D3 and D4, like Lowville and Brookfield, you're limited with the number of guys that you got. So it definitely hurts, those smaller community teams, because to be honest, some might not even play the first week of basketball because they're so banged up.
Right.
Their bodies might need to heal before they could even get out there, because football is such a physical sport, and you never know with like the concussion protocol nowadays. If they get hit in that last game, they might need a couple weeks off before they could even get out there. So I don't really like them moving the basketball season up.
I know we got to let you go, but for those who don't know, tell them where they can catch you tonight.
Well, you won't see my face. I'll be behind the camera. I'm helping Steve Leslie out. We'll be at the Golden Dawn, 5:30 start. We're going to have 3 athletes and Coach Gunther as well. So come out to the Golden Dawn. Great pizza, great time. It's usually packed in there for the Ursuline Irish. So, to come out and see one of the best basketball programs, I think, in the city of Youngstown and Ursuline. So it should be a fun night.
And one of the top coaches as well. Coach Gunn is the dude knows more than I will. Well, he forgot more basketball than I'll ever know. Let's put it that way.
Same.
Rich, appreciate you so much. Appreciate you stopping by. Thanks for talking hoops for us and with us. And we'll talk to you real soon, dude.
All right, later.
All right, there he goes. We will take a break as well. This one brought to you by our friends over at Toyota of Warren.
We believe expectations are made to be exceeded. At the new Toyota of Warren, it's about more than just getting a great deal. It's about service you can count on and a friendship you can trust. Year after year, we've done what we do best. We've gone the extra mile so you could too. Because we know it's just not about buying a new car. It's the start of a new adventure. Toyota of Warren, driven by you.
Locally owned and operated, Sheely's relaxed shopping experience means browsing and lounging is always encouraged.
Find Flex Deal and more at Sheely's Furniture and Appliance, because the best things in life happen at home.
How lucky are we to have not one, but 2 18-hole Donald Ross Championship golf courses right here in our backyards. Mill Creek Golf Course was selected by Golf Week as one of America's 30 best municipal courses, continuing to challenge golfers of all levels and featuring golf instruction by PGA professionals, a state-of-the-art practice range, a PGA of America recognized pro shop, kids programs, and a relaxing grill room for a memorable golf experience. For more information or to schedule a tee time, visit millcreekmetroparks.org.
Fall is in the air. The kids are back to school, crowds are cheering for the home team, and Myers Family Insurance is prepped for another crazy Medicare season. Every year there's changes, some big, some small, so it's important to have a conversation to make sure your plan is going to meet your expectations for the coming year. Give our team a call today to schedule your annual review.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance or visit us on the web. Check us out online at myersfamilyins.com.
Going from mindful to mindful sometimes requires a helping, healing hand. Insight Clinical Counseling and Wellness offers a continuum of mental health and wellness care. At Insight, we're changing the way you receive counseling and wellness services with experienced licensed clinicians and expertly trained wellness staff. With 4 locations in Mahoning and Columbiana County, along with telehealth services, Insight offers clients quick access to care when they need it. Transform your mental health and wellness at Insight Clinical Counseling and Wellness.
And welcome back to the Ysn Power Hour. DJ Yoakley with you. Thanks again to Richie Giuliano stopping in. My homeboy, always doing great things. And again, one of the best in the business, Richie Giuliano. And again, he is so humble in his walk and what he does. Just great, because one day he's football, the next day he's basketball, then he's back on the football. He'll do write any story. He'll go any place, like a streaming Superman is that Giuliano kid. So appreciate him so much and what he does. And he's out there helping Steve tonight get up and going with the coach show and the player profile. So looking forward to that. That'll be on YSN. I'm guessing probably no later than tomorrow with the way that they work. So looking forward to that. Get out to the Golden Dawn and support another local business, a great business, and a great basketball team in the Ursuline Irish. All right. So no Thursday show last week, no Friday show last week. Where the heck have I been? Well, I have been trying to recoup from the football season. I've been trying to get out there and speak on a couple engagements. But I got to tell you, a couple engagements that happened on Thursday and on Saturday specifically were phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. So Thursday, I was invited a few months ago by Dennis Schiraldi, who has been on this show before, well known throughout the community. And not that I'm making this about me, but I'm trying to promote others. Do You Live, what a great marketing conference, more than a marketing conference. Being able to be on a panel full of entrepreneurs and business owners, business owners, was an absolute honor and a pleasure. And why it's important for YSN is not everybody understands YSN. Not everybody understands that we're a sports streaming company and how we got started and how we went along and what we're up to nowadays. And we're up to these shows and 1,500 basketball games being on this. Almost, I should say more than that. As of right now, there's over 1,800 basketball games that are scheduled on YSN that we're planning on covering. So I want to thank Dennis. Honestly, that was awesome. Got a great chance to sit down with, some great people. Got to hang out with our crew from iSynergy and Lift Marketing, my dude Steve Cross and his whole team and his lovely wife. Like, just being around those people is great. These are people in our community that are making huge impacts. My mentor, Ed Kieran, was there, which I couldn't be more grateful for, and trying to kind of spin the wheels and make sure that everybody knows about YSN. So that was Thursday. And then I slept for a long time. And then the next thing I knew, it was Saturday, and I got to hang out with a lot of great people, a lot of great coaches at an event that Rick Shepis and crew put together that's called The Miracle at the Oaks. And that was, it's been going on for a long time. I wish I had a number of years, but I was invited first time last year, and it was at Bruno Brothers, and had a great time. But this year was incredible because I had never been to the Royal Oaks before. So if you've ever been, you kind of know it's interesting. Like, you walk up to the building and you think you're in the wrong place, and then you have some of the best food you'll ever have in your life. And I got to tell you, like, the camaraderie was second to none. Some of Reno from Steubenville, Coach Reno, was there, met him for the first time. Andy Hake was there, naturally. Rick Shepis was there, Todd Thorne, Bob Sebo, Arby Mino. I mean, there was a ton of people. I mean, probably more that want to be, known for being there, but it was a who's who of coaches, and talking to to Andy after it, he kind of hit the nail on the head, and he said, if that place would have sunken into a sinkhole, the Valley would be at a huge loss with the amount of football knowledge and sports knowledge that place had to offer for those hours. It was incredible. As a sports junkie, as someone who absolutely loves sports in this area, bleeds for it, lives for it, I was like a kid in a candy store. Our own Tim Figley, happy birthday, Tim, was there as well and was hanging out. And it was just, I mean, everywhere I looked, it was like going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and all of the busts were alive and well and talking. There were so many Hall of Famers in that room. I couldn't believe it. Coach Fedeschi, I mean, coming off a state championship and his contributions to Canfield. I mean, so many great coaches, some that I have never met before in my life that were bucket list opportunities. It was awesome. It was awesome. So hopefully we'll be able to promote and tell people more about the Miracle at the Oaks next year, because it's this time every year, and it was a great time, and cannot thank Todd Thorne enough, Rick Shepis enough. The invitation, always out there. So thank you very much. And I'm sure we'll talk about it more. But the crazy thing Quinn and I were talking about today is to get back on the sports talk before we wrap things up here, probably a little early, is that everybody is sick right now. Like, games are getting canceled, weekly, daily games are getting canceled. I'm imploring, like, take care of yourself. And that's easy for me to say, right? I'm sitting here hacking up along. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. Family has to come first, especially this season. I mean, we're in a situation right now where we're just trying to stay home and stay healthy before Christmas. You want to spend Christmas Day with your family. You won't have to, what is it? What do they call it? Not hibernate, to separate, the social distance, all that stuff. You don't want to have to do that on Christmas. You don't have to worry about, having to quarantine on Christmas. So now's the time to make sure that you stay healthy. Now's the time that if you're going to stay home, if you have the means to do it, because you do not want what's going around. Like, everybody is aware of COVID and aware of all this stuff. And they're talking about triple demics and stuff on the national news. I'm not your doctor, but I'm telling you, please, as much as you possibly can, stay healthy, because it is nobody likes being sick, but everybody seems to be sick right now. And just listen, if you can, stay away from people for a couple days, just let this thing blow over a little bit, famous last words, right? But it's one of those things, like, we don't want to go through what we went through before. Like, this is eerily familiar. Like, we're getting to that territory where you're starting to see games get canceled again. We don't want to get to the point where we shut down all of sports again, because it'll start with that, and then everything else kind of comes after it, and then sports will come back. Just please stay as healthy as you possibly can. Please, 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 use all the precautionaries that you need to use to stay healthy. Make sure that you're whatever you believe in. I'm not here telling you what to do or what not to do, but utilize it. Like, if you feel better with a mask on, then use a mask. If you feel better, using rubber gloves, then use. It's up to you. But, like, just take care of yourself and each other, because at the end of the day, we don't want to see another situation that happened in 2020 come around again. And I don't think we're necessarily destined for that. But man, does it feel like it. And Quinn was telling me that there was 60 some games canceled in the last week in our coverage area. Like, it's too many. It's too many. And the kids in health always needs to come first. But at the end of the day, there's probably precautions that we can take, like not going out and partying, necessarily with all your teammates. It's a little bit wild, right? Like, you still got to be smart about it. And if you are sick, stay away. It's not worth it. because it's not going to help the team or help the cause. It's only going to make things a little bit more challenging for everybody involved. Let's get to our Joe Dickey Electric. I know it's a little early. I know you're going to have to bear with me for a little bit because I'm still battling a little bit of illness as well. Let's go to the Joe Dickey Electric. What's your spark? Presented by Joe Dickey Electric. Anything commercial, residential, anything electrical, go to DickeyElectric.com. All right, the Joe Dickey Electric Spark today, well, it goes to get those winter coats out, ladies and gentlemen. Winter is coming, and it sounds like Friday is going to be, I mean, I looked at the Storm Tracker 21 forecast. The levels are going down. Like, it's coming. We've waited long enough. We're the 12th of December, and I still don't necessarily have to wear a winter coat, but it's going to change. So I talked to, I was that kid, right? I was that kid, and I know so many of my friends were those kids that when it was 15, 20 degrees out, left the house without a coat, left the house without, a jacket even, wearing shorts. I'm not the guy to judge who's tough and who's not, but at this point in my life, at 37, if you're wearing shorts, I'm not worried about how tough you are. I'm worried about your intellectual capabilities. Like, crazy to be wearing shorts out in 10-degree weather. And I've seen it and I've done it. Please don't do that. Please put some pants on. Please wear a winter coat. It might not feel like it's helping you out, but it is. I promise you. You don't want to end up with pneumonia or hypothermia or any of that stuff. Please, the parent of me is begging you to put clothes on this time of year if you have them. And if you don't, ask somebody because we'll get it for you. Thank you all for, I got some well wishes. I don't know how it got out there, but there's been some really, really good stuff happening in our lives personally. And we're blessed beyond measure. We're grateful beyond measure. And I can't thank enough people that have been part of the process, and you'll know more moving forward, certainly, as I can make it available. So Radar Spark says, Scooter Mincher, Kristen Seidler, and I can't wait to be on Wednesday. And we're getting ready for our Christmas carols. We'll sing on what? Oh my God. Wednesday just became a can't miss show because they're going to be singing Christmas carols. Oh man. I guess I'm going to have to turn it up a little bit on Wednesday. Do not miss Wednesday's show now, because Scooter, Radar, and Kristen are going to be singing Christmas carols right here in the Athletic Studio on YSN. That's going to do it for our show today. Again, apologies for dipping out a little early, but you know what? It's okay. It'll be all right. You'll get through it too. God bless you. We will see you tomorrow, 3 to 4, as Josh Upshire will tell us a little bit more about his event coming up at Badger on the network. We'll see you tomorrow, 3 to 4 on the YSN Power Hour, powered by Toyota of Warren. YSN thanks you